Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I get to learn a little bit about somebody else's perspective on movies. And my buddy from film club in college, and also part of the movie club, Vinnie is here, and this is his fourth time around, and he keeps coming back. Well, Vinnie, thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
And before we get started with my questions, would you like to shamelessly plug anything for people to check out?
Sure, I'll shamelessly plug my movie review blog. It's cinemaconversations.blogspot.com. You can either type in that link or you can even find it on my Twitter page. I'm at Vin Abbatecola. So can I spell my last name for them?
Sure, and both of them will be in the description of the video.
Oh, then in that case, I won't bother.
There you go. I'll put the links in there so you can check
That's
out
fine.
all of Vinny's articles and all of his reviews. But let's get things started. So, Vinny, what's your favorite movie scene?
So I think no, keep in mind for a lot of these questions, I had to really think about a lot and just and try and pick one out. But
I'm a jerk and like to watch people squirt.
no, it's fine. So I think my favorite movie scene um is from Goodfellas, and it's the long take through the Copacabana nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I like about this scene is that, and it's actually like something I thought about like just a few hours ago. I really like how in this scene Scorsese uses different tools to to describe the characters of Henry Hill and Karen. So
Mm-hmm.
like the long take through like the camera movements through the Copacabana. I really like how what that says about Henry's character. Like the way how it's an unbroken shot, like it really kind of just shows like the confidence and ease through which he moves through that space, and like it really makes you think, he how many other women has he taken through the
Mm-hmm.
has he taken through like the hallways of the Copacabana to really get to know this space. And and even though he's with Kara and she's the one he's going to end up marrying, he's still going to be going after these other women, even though they're married and they're together and they have a family. And for Karen, I like how I like the use of music when he uses the Crystals song "Then He Kissed Me." It really shows how much Karen has become enamored with this lifestyle without really even knowing the deeper details of this lifestyle. All she knows is that Henry is well off, and he can afford nice things. But it's not until they sit down at the Copacabana and she asks him, "What do you do for a living?" And of course, he just has the vague response of like he's in he's construction. He says he's a construction, so and he doesn't really go into much more detail. But I just really liked how this scene finds ways to describe both their characters of how they are now and what will eventually happen to them as the movie goes forward.
It takes a special scene to be able to show off in such a great technical way and then also subtly really build out character in the choices. And, Scorsese, and he's a master at that point, and just really showing off what he's able to do in terms of adding layers to the scene, layers to the character, and making a really cool shot, which honestly is one of the most memorable scenes in one of his most memorable films. So it certainly does work really well in the scene in the film as well. Now, the next two questions kind of go hand in hand. Not necessarily have to be from the same story, but Vinny, who's your favorite movie protagonist?
My favorite movie protagonist is it's probably Benjamin Braddock from The Graduate, which also happens to be my all-time favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason why he's my favorite protagonist is that um it goes along with the same reason why I love this movie so much. He plays a character, he just graduated from college, and he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He's trying to live up to his parents' expectations, but he's not sure if he can. And meanwhile, he's also trying to be his own person, but he doesn't know who that person is going to be. And I just feel like this is a character that everyone can relate to, because not not even necessarily when a person graduated college, like just like like at like anyone at any point in their life, like can be confused about where their life is headed, and what and just and what and they and they're not sure what they want out of their life, and they're trying to search for it, and they might not find what they want right away. And people do go through those confusing situations. And I just feel like through Dustin Hoffman's performance in this movie, like he was able to capture that confusion perfectly. And that's just that's the reason why he's my favorite movie protagonist.
It's such a fascinating thing for a movie protagonist to like capture a whole entire generation of people. But it really does feel that way in terms of The Graduate being such a late 60s movie and really capturing that change in terms of like perspective in terms of young people at the time. And it's pretty relatable for a lot of people to like come out of college and you're just like, what the hell do I want to do with my life? And most of us don't have an affair with an older married woman, but we do experience some of those kind of like him just like laying there in the pool, just like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I don't personally know that experience. I just jumped right into a job right after college. But it's one of those kinds of things where it's like that's a normal thing for young people. And Dustin Hoffman's such a talented actor and bringing so much to that character. And that's why it's such a seminal film of not only that era, but also coming of age and for college age people of just being like, well, let's get a little adventurous before I settle down. Where's the where's the drunken middle-aged women who are married for me to have an affair with?
And just as a side note, um like a deeper connection I have with this movie is that um it was like we watched it in my studies in film genre class with Dr. Lucia. um
Mm.
and for your listeners, she was a professor. Well, I don't know if she's still in this department, but I think she might have switched. I think she might have switched over when I was just like browsing through the website. But when we were there, she was she was a professor in the film and media studies department.
Mm.
So I took her class, studies in film genre, and for that semester it was focusing on comedy. And that was the last class, that was my final class of my last day of my senior year, and this was the movie we ended up watching. So
Damn, what
so
that really hit.
so definitely a bittersweet moment.
I thought, Vinny, I thought you were gonna profess that you had a affair with a middle-aged married woman. I thought this
Oh
was gonna
my
get much more
god.
interesting than that. But no, that is a very interesting final film to watch in your college experience is The Graduate.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if Mrs. Robinson's going to be your antagonist here. Um, But who's your favorite movie antagonist?
So for my movie antagonist, I went for a fairly recent movie. I mean it's almost 10 years old, but in movie time, like 10 years
Mhm.
really isn't that old. But so one of my top favorite movie protagonists is Terrence Fletcher, the J.K. Simmons character in Whiplash.
Oh my.
I I remember I remember seeing this. I saw this movie twice in theaters. I remember the first time I saw it, like right after. I mean, I was tense, like right in his, because I think he shows up in the opening. Yeah, he shows up in the opening scene. So like even like then, I was like pretty tensed up. But his next scene when he's teaching the class, and you really see what his shtick is, for lack of a better word.
What a piece
I
of crap.
I kind of just like almost I like sunk into my seat because I was just so on edge with like who with like the type of person this guy is. And like right after that scene when he just goes off on on his class, like I knew I was in for a very like anxiety inducing 100 minutes. And I just I was shaking the whole time. And then I went back 3 months later to see it with my dad, because it had been like re-released like after the Oscar nominations came out. But
Mhm.
I saw it again with my dad, and even though I knew what was coming, I was still on edge the whole time.
It's so tense. And J.K. Simmons is absolutely amazing. And
But
just,
he I'm sorry, go ahead.
now go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he definitely deserved to steamroll through that awards season.
Yeah, and just that he owned that. He owned his students. He just demolished them most aggressively and just not my
Are you
temper.
rushing or are you rushing or are you dragging?
The fact that he didn't know means he doesn't deserve to be here. Oh my god, it's so messed up and just leading up to such a great climax. But speaking of endings to movies, Vinny, what's your favorite movie ending?
My favorite movie ending. I'm gonna have to go with the ending of Toy Story 3. Um, because I was 5 when the first movie came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it on video, and of course, I loved it. And then my brother and I, we got all the toys, and everything. And then um when the second one came out, our parents took us to see it, and of course we all loved it. And then the third one came out. And in the third one, Andy is going off to college. And it actually came out this it actually came out the summer following my freshman year of college. But even still, it's like, you're still, it's still an emotional movie, because I had just started college
Mhm.
the fall before. And and given and given how my brother and I grew up with these characters, our parents took us to see the second movie. And then the four of us went to go see the third movie, like, so we could, we enjoyed it. Like, it was, it was heartwarming, but also heartbreaking, because of like, just because of like, just the concept of time passing, and the toys being passed down from from an older Andy to like a younger kid, so she can enjoy them.
Mhm.
Like, it was just like like an emotionally fulfilling experience. And it wasn't only one of my favorite movies of 2010, but one of my favorite movies of the 2010s.
Yeah. It's as somebody who did go see that the summer after I graduated high school, because I did graduate high school in 2010. Oh my God. What what a very specific feeling that movie invokes, and just the emotion of it all, and just the wonderful moment at the end of the film that just nails it perfectly, to the point where it's like, do we need more? Wasn't it the perfect ending? But I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Toy Story 4. I love Toy Story 4,
Yeah,
but
you,
it's
you,
one of
you
those
know,
kinds of things where this just felt like the most perfect way to wrap up Andy's story, and just hits it perfectly.
yeah, what, I will admit, I really liked Toy Story 4, but if if it had ended after Toy Story 3, I would have been fine with that as well.
Absolutely. Trash? I'm trash? The existential crisis that Forky has in that movie is so unexpected.
Voiced by Buster Bluth.
Voiced by I'm Buster Mother. I love Lucille. I love Tony Hale so
Oh
much.
god, he's hysterical.
So good. Now, Vinny, what's a film that you wish you could watch in a theater for the first time? As in, this would be your first time ever watching this movie.
So I'm definitely gonna have to go with Psycho, because just because of how much hype because of how much hype was built up around it. Um, uh, I remember reading about, and seeing in the movie Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins, how, like, when Hitchcock decided to make Psycho, he asked his secretary to go out and buy as many copies of the book as she can, just so they could, like, preserve the twist ending. I
Mhm.
and then you have the whole thing about how him, like, swearing his cast and crew to secrecy, to, like, not reveal anything about the movie, and then just, like, the whole marketing he did with that trailer, when, like, it didn't he was, like, in front of the the
The,
what's Anthony Perkins's Norman Bates. Wow,
yeah.
I can't believe I blanked on that for a second. But like, if you go on YouTube, like, there's a trailer of Alfred Hitchcock, like, standing in front of Norman Bates's house and saying, "Oh, this is where all these horrible things happened, but I don't want to go into it."
Mhm.
And then of course, when, like, he told theater owners, don't admit anyone into the movie, like, after it began. And then, and just, I can't imagine being in that audience and having who you think is going to be your, like, the main character throughout the movie get killed off within a half hour of it, and
Yep.
just, like,
Getting
I can't,
murked.
like, what, and just, like, being thrown for a loop when that happened, and thinking of, like, who are we gonna follow now, like, who's gonna be, like, the main character that's gonna take us through this story. And like, it just seems like it would have been such a fun movie to see in a theater with a huge crowd.
Psycho, Planet of the Apes, The Sixth Sense, all the things that I wish I didn't know before seeing the movie. And
Yeah.
I just imagine Psycho would have been such an amazing experience, experiencing those iconic things for the first time in a theater, not knowing anything. Absolutely crazy. Now, shifting gears a little bit into a different kind of film, documentaries. But Vinny, what's a subject matter that you would like to see get a documentary treatment?
All right, this was actually the question I was most looking forward to. So so for me, I think I would love to see a documentary focusing on high school marching bands. I was in marching band for 4 years. I played bass drum, and I joined because like I was mainly an orchestra person. Like I played the string bass, but a lot of my friends were in band, and they were, and quite a few of them were also in marching band. So like there were times when like I kind of felt left out. I kind of felt left out because they were all doing one thing, and I was doing another thing. So 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 like in ninth grade, I began asking my friends. I began asking them about marching band and like what goes into it. And I figured like a percussion instrument would be the easiest to learn, because it's not like you have to learn. It's not like you have to learn like notes. Like it's really just like a matter of like keeping rhythm of like keeping rhythm, and knowing when to hit your drum. So I joined the parade season of my freshman year, and parade season goes from like end of January to beginning of June. And then and then it comes time for the football season, which is when we learn the show that we're going to be that we're going to be doing for competitions. So we have a week long band camp before the school season starts. And you learn a couple of the songs, you get a feel for like what the show is going to be, but it's you don't know like the full you don't know what your conductor's vision is going to be.
Mhm.
So the reason why I would like to see like a documentary about high school marching bands is because, I mean, for me anyway, it's fascinating to see the evolution of what your show is going to be,
Mhm.
because when you play it for like the first couple games of the football season, you might have like part of the choreography planned out, but you don't have the whole show nailed down. But the more times you perform it in front of an audience, the more gets added to it. And then eventually you have the whole show, you know what it's going to be. But even then, the show, like in my experience, the show evolves like right up until when you go onto the field for like the final competition of the season. Like an example is when I was a sophomore year, that was my first football season, and the music we did was Cirque du Soleil. And you've seen commercials for those shows. I don't know if you've actually been to one of those shows. I haven't. I've just seen the commercials, but just by the commercials, like you can tell like it's not easy music. Like it's challenging, and it was intimidating, like having to play that music for my first football season.
Mhm.
And for the bass drums, I remember there was like, I think it was like a 12 measure a 12 measure section of like the big finale song that like we were always having trouble with. And the last time we went through the show before getting on the bus to go to the final competition, we went through the show, and then we played it the best we could, but it still wasn't quite there. But then our section leader was like, all right, like that was fine, we played the best we could, let's just go out and do the show. And like, kind of like, it was kind of like a whatever happens happens situation. And then what happens is that during the show, or during that portion of the show, the percussion, like the drum section was out front, and then the bass drums stepped forward to do that section of music. And I don't know what happened. We played that section perfectly. So again, that just goes back to that goes back to what I said about how the show, even when you're performing it for the last time, it's still evolving. And again, I just think seeing a season of marching band unfold in documentary form, like for me anyway, would be fascinating to see.
Well, obviously, you have a strong passion about this in terms of your own experiences. And not gonna lie, I want to see an 824 style boy state style band camp documentary. I feel like that would be very interesting.
Because up until now all we have is Drumline, which is a good movie, but you know it's been 20, it's been over 20 years since then. I'd like a
Mhm.
new marching band experience on to like to be shown on screen.
And to be honest, the only thing we really know about Bandcamp is from American Pie. So
Oh,
there you go.
okay, okay, all right, yeah, yes, we have all of that, but I mean like the full, but like you know, Drumline had like the full like nitty gritty of like what it was like, of what it was like to be in a marching band.
So not
So
just a bunch of horny teenagers,
correct.
like American Pie. Now, shifting gears to television, yes, we're talking about things that are not movies this time around. So, Vinny, what's your favorite television show?
I'm gonna have to go with 30 Rock. I got into the show when I got into the show, it was in its fourth season, and it ended up going to seven seasons.
Mhm.
So what happened was that um one of the like my freshman year of college, one of the guys I became friends with across the hall from me, like I think like I guess like just one day he said, you know, like he asked me, do I watch 30 Rock? And I said I don't. So he said, oh, you know, there is a new episode tonight. Why don't you come over and we'll watch it? So I said, okay. So I watched it, and like it just took one episode for me to be like, this show is hilarious. I want to watch more of it. So so that winter break, um I think it was my it was I think it was like someone in my family gave me season one for Christmas, and then
Nice.
my brother and I, we binge watched season one, and you know this is college, so we have a month off for winter break. So as soon as that was done, I went to Barnes and Noble when they still had a flourishing DVD and CD section. I bought season two, binge watched that. Went back when they had season three in stock, binge watched that, and then I was all caught up, and then I got back, and then I got back into season four, and like it's just such a hilarious show, and like the writing is incredible. I mean, like they'll have like like ten like ten like 10 like 10 jokes in like 30 seconds. Like it's one of those shows where like you could rewatch it like a fifth time and still catch a joke that you missed, because it really because 30 Rock it excelled equally in both verbal humor and visual humor, and like it was just like every episode is just packed with like with clever jokes.
Oh, I binge watched 30 Rock with Jess during COVID. Such a good choice. It's just like, Jack, are you in a tuxedo? It's like, it's after 6 o'clock, Lemons. What do you think? I am a farmer? Jack Donaghy is so great. It's so good.
No,
And
and then they have so many amazing guest stars on that show. Like it's insane.
insane. The Roger,
The Roger.
the Roger. Just no, and no parties like a Liz Lemon's
Oh,
party, because a Liz Lemon's party is mandatory.
yes. Oh, and like and Jack's mom, played by the late great Elaine Stritch,
Yeah,
just
so good.
fantastic.
Jack Donaghy's one of my favorite characters in a TV show. Alec Baldwin played him so perfectly.
Oh,
Just the whole
just
cast, Jane,
yes.
uh,
Tina Fey, Tracy Morgan,
and Jack McBriar.
yes. Oh, and Jane Krakowski.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just everybody was so good in that show. Now,
and
Vinny,
and
what's your
and,
favorite?
and John Hamm with his hook hands.
It's so
What?
random.
Well, you're too good for me now. Now that you're too good for me now that I have pirate hook hands.
Now, Vinny, what's your favorite television finale?
So I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with The Office. Um,
Oh,
just and just brief moment to reflect how great NBC Thursday night was with 30 Rock and The Office. Just pristine television.
so good.
So so The Office is my favorite finale because I'm I really missed Steve Carell after he left this following the end of the seventh season. Everyone was like, how's this show going to continue without him? Like they should just end it. And you know what? Like seasons more so season 8 than season 9, but like between those two seasons, there are a handful of good episodes. For instance, the garden party at Dwight's farm. But there
Jim
was definitely
Halper.
Mr. Jim Halpert. But there definitely was like the missing element of Steve Carell, and and mostly in season 9 was when you really felt it, because just like there were definitely more mediocre episodes than there were good ones. But then those last few episodes when they were wrapping things up, I really think, I mean, I haven't seen them in a while, so I can't really go into too much detail, but I remember them like really, like the way they handled the goodbyes and everything. They really stuck the landing in those last few episodes. And when they had Steve Carell come back for the
Mhm,
final episode, it wasn't just funny, but it was just very heartwarming to have like this reunion
mhm,
of like these characters that we've come to love over the course of 9 seasons. And obviously, like the very last scene of them all together in like in their office, just like reminiscing of the experiences they've had. Like for a show that was very up and down in its last couple of seasons, I think they really nailed it when it came to like to the very end of it.
oh, they stuck the landing. So to be honest, I hated the last season. Like there's a lot like I struggled to get through the last season.
Hmm.
Um right after he left, like you would think Will Ferrell would have been a great addition to the show, but I hated those episodes that he popped up in. But I do have to say, James Spader
Yes.
was so good.
Yes, he was.
I'm the Lizard Robert California. Just, but that last season, I could not believe how great that finale was
Mhm.
after how that last season went for me. But like, just what is it, Michael? You came. What she said. I'm just like, yes. And I love the fact that he could not say more lines than he did, or he had to have been credited in the episode, which
Mhm.
is why he doesn't say much at all. But like him just being there, the look of his smile is like, it's like like a proud dad, and my children grow up to marry each other. Just so stupid. But it's so
Still,
good.
still saying all the still saying all the wrong things.
Saying all the wrong things. Oh my god, it was so great that he got one last. That's what she said in though. Oh man, that was perfect. So perfect. All right, got two more for you, Vinny.
Okay.
So, which director do you think would be best to direct the story of your life?
Uh, I I would have to go with Richard Linklater because with his movies, like he's great with he's just great with capturing like like the everyday situations of
Mhm.
people and just how they connect like his movies they're very relatable in the sense where like with his characters like there's like in the relationships they build there's nothing like there's nothing like unbelievable about them they're very like slice of life type of
Mhm.
stuff like even even with his even with his before trilogy yeah his characters are overseas like taking journeys throughout Europe but it's not like they're doing like grand adventures like he's just following his characters around as they have like normal discussions that you could like picture anybody having and like the way my life is I mean like I'm not like I don't have like big adventures or anything I'm like I don't do a lot of traveling. I'm fine with like just like hang out with people around my hometown and just like you, just like just doing like everyday things with them and like I feel and that's you see that especially with his movies like Dazed and Confused and
Mhm.
Everybody Wants Some like he captures like little vignettes of small town life and just seeing these characters just go about their everyday things and just just hanging out and I feel like I feel like he'd be the perfect director to just to make a movie about my life because again like I'm not a person who needs to like go out and do something big like I'm fine with just like I'm fine with just hang with friends doing stuff around my hometown.
Absolutely. Richard Linklater certainly can capture the everyday so well and so relatably. I do have to say, though, I was expecting one of two Paisan to capture that Italian experience. So no Scorsese and no Coppola. Might have to revoke your Paisan card.
Well, all right. Well, maybe if I ever become involved with the mob, then my answer might change to one of those two. But as of now, it's Linklater all the way.
Wow, Vinny. Pushing those stereotypes of us. Wow. Just kidding. But maybe not. But my last question for you. I really wanted to ask this question because I know a lot of the times recency bias can get in there and like things that we watch, especially growing up, since most of my guests are roughly around my age or honestly younger or maybe slightly older. But can you give me five films you would recommend to people that were made before you were born?
Yes. So, all right. So what I did with this was that I chose the five movies I chose. They're each from a different decade from before I
Very
was born.
nice.
So we'll go in chronological order. So
Mm-hmm.
and what's funny is that like four, four of the five movies I chose, I watched in preparation for other movies. So my first movie is from the 30s, and it's the original King Kong.
Fair enough.
I watched this for the first time um 6 years ago, when Kong Skull Island came out.
Mhm.
I was looking forward to seeing that, but I was like, you know what? I've seen Peter Jackson's King Kong, but I've never seen the original version. So let me rent it off. Let me rent it off of Amazon and see what I've been missing all these years. And and I really enjoyed it. Like, it's a great adventure story. Um, the I I really liked the use of stop motion animation for like King Kong and and the other creatures. Like, it's just, it's just like it's always fun just to see like early special effects, and how they influenced other movies. And of course, you have the iconic Empire State Building scene at the very end. Um, so that was King Kong, and then I couldn't really think of anything from like the 40s for some reason, so I just skipped to
Mhm.
the 50s. So with the 50s, I chose Sunset Boulevard,
Ah.
and the reason why I watched that was because um I watched it because I was reading The Disaster Artist, because I heard about that becoming a movie.
Mhm.
So of course, I'd seen The Room. I wanted to read the book about the making of The Room. And what they do is that, like, for the book follows two timelines. It follows when it follows like the first few years of Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau's friendship,
Mhm.
and then the other timeline follows the making of The Room. And for for the chapters for one timeline, I forget like which is which, but for the chapters for one timeline, they use quotes from the talented Mr. Ripley, and then for the other timeline, they use quotes from Sunset Boulevard. So I was like, oh, like, that's really interesting. Like, I've never seen, like, I had heard of Sunset Boulevard, but I had never seen it. So I was like, this will give me a reason to watch this movie. So once I finished The Disaster Artist, I watched Sunset Boulevard, and that became one of my favorite movies. Everyone William Holden's is terrific in that, but obviously that movie belongs to Gloria Swanson, because like, just like the way she captures a movie star who's been shunned from the industry after she couldn't find a place in like after she couldn't find a place in this new chapter of Hollywood with talking movies,
Mhm.
and just how she just like how she feels, so like so left out of everything, how she wants to, like, how she so badly wants to make a comeback. You just really see someone who you see someone who hasn't left the who in her mind hasn't left the industry, but the industry
Mhm.
has left her. And just like I like it's probably one of not only one of my all-time favorite, not just one of my all-time favorite movies, but probably my favorite movie about Hollywood, and just what it's like to be a part of that industry. And like, just a story about how you can be floating on so much success only for something to happen and just be completely like pushed to the side for like something newer to take your place. and and it's just like I don't know, I just love that. I just love that movie.
Absolutely.
uh the next one, oh, so the next one is from the 60s, and coincidentally it's actually on Turner Classic Movies tonight. So this is Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn. So, and the reason why I watched this was because I was getting ready to see that movie Don't Breathe.
Hmm.
And both movies involve a blind person alone in their house being invaded by burglars. And with Wait Until Dark, not only do you get like not only do you get like a great terrified performance from Audrey Hepburn, but you get an insanely creepy villain from Alan Arkin. and and like I've always and like I've always been fascinated by movies that take place for if not all, for most of their run time in one place, because in that case like a movie has to has to really get creative and and like in like certain ways how they use the space that the characters are occupying. and and Wait Until Dark, you have Audrey Hepburn all alone in her apartment. You have like the burglars like sneaking around her, trying not to get caught.
Hmm.
And of course like you have that amazing jump scare at the very end when Alan Arkin leaps out from the side of the screen and like tackles Audrey Hepburn's character. And it just it's so good, so good.
I haven't seen
um
that one, so I'll have to check that out.
Oh, damn it! I'm sorry. You should have. Uh, I didn't mean to to spoil that for you. I've
Spoiler, Vinny.
I
What
I apologize.
what do you have for the 70s?
So for the 70s, I have Close Encounters Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Is it of the third kind or with the third? Close Encounters of the Third
I
Kind.
think it's close of the third kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why I watched this was around the time when Arrival was coming out, and I remember seeing people or reading people comparing these two movies. And so obviously that got me interested in seeing and watching Close Encounters.
Mhm.
So what I love about this movie is that you've seen a lot of Spielberg movies, like a main,
Literally all of them.
oh yeah, that's right, for the Spielberg series.
Yep.
um so one thing about his movies is that if not in all of his movies, in most of his movies, he focuses on broken families. And
Hmm.
I just thought that was something he did. I just thought that was something he did really well with Close Encounters. And like this really was a movie where it was definitely an early example of how he can do like small scale like intimate family drama just as well as the big special effects scenes. And just just the scenes with Richard Dreyfuss and his wife is Terry Garr, I think, played by I think she's played by Terry Garr.
I Terry Garr's in it. Was she the wife or was she the other woman that he?
No, the woman who loses her son.
Oh no, Terry
That's
Garr was his wife. Yeah. Melinda
The other
Dillon.
woman, what Melinda Dillon, yeah. So yeah, yeah, just like the scenes between Richard Dreyfuss and Terry Garv, like they're definitely standouts for me, especially the scene like maybe about halfway through the movie when at this point Richard Dreyfuss, like his character, he's like really like involved in trying to figure out the mystery of the aliens, and there's just like they're having dinner and he's almost in like his own little world with like building
Hmm.
the mashed potato mountain, and like his family is just
Yeah.
like looking at him like they don't know how to respond to like what he's doing, and I just I just love the drama that Spielberg is able to get
Hmm.
in all his movies, like side by side with the beautiful visual effects scenes.
Absolutely.
Um, and then so then for my fifth movie, I chose one from the '80s, and it's one we did last year on the Wasteland podcast. So I chose Ordinary People.
Uh,
Um, so so I've always wanted to watch this movie, but I just never got around to it until until I picked it as my candidate for like the Oscar Best Picture episode. So once we voted on this movie, I ordered the book because I wanted to, you know, like whenever I can, I try to read the book before I see the movie. So I read the book, loved it, and then I watched the movie, and it's probably one of my favorite book to movie adaptations. I thought Robert Redford really captured the characters and emotions. I really thought I thought he captured them really well from the book. Just like the overall like tense, heartbreaking tone of of um of the novel. Like what I really liked about it is how it show how it shows character, like it shows the mom, the father, and the mom, the father, and the son, and like how they like really trying to like handle the death of the oldest son, and seeing how the three of them process their grief in different ways, and like how the three of them try to get along, but they also tend to clash, and just with like how just with how they try to just like with how they try to get through their loss. And I really like the scenes between Timothy Dalton's character and Judd Hirsch, who plays the psychiatrist. um I just thought it was like it's a quiet movie, but you still really feel like the you still feel like that tension like simmering beneath. And I just thought Robert Redford did a great job with directing that movie.
Absolutely. And I can attest four of them are fantastic films and certainly worth watching. And the other one I haven't seen yet. So I can't say that, but I take Vinny's word for it. But how I like to wrap up this show is I let my guests ask me a question. So, Vinny, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
So you know what, I thought about this question um earlier on in the interview, and you know it actually ties into me talking about Ordinary People being one of my favorite book to movie adaptations. So my question is, what's your favorite book to movie adaptation?
Do you want it based off of what I think is the best adaptation or the best film based off of a book?
What what do you think was the best movie to capture like the essence of a book that you read?
That is an interesting question because the easiest answer would be Lord of the Rings for best my favorite film adaptation of a book. Um, but would I say Lord of the Rings is the best adaptation of Lord of the Rings? Obviously, they cut out a lot of stuff. It's also really framed in a different kind of way. Um, honestly, which this is strange to say because usually this director's not really known for adapting things well, kind of just taking the idea and doing whatever the hell they want with it. I cannot believe how Kubrick brought A Clockwork Orange to life. Like, I know there's one very key scene that makes a huge difference between the book and the film, but like just from a straight adaptation of the events and the language of it, the voice of it, just it's incredible how he's able to do that. And it's very strange seeing as Kubrick is not well liked by some of the authors of his adaptations. Um, Especially Stephen King and The Shining. But I think Clockwork Orange is up there, and this is going to sound like a silly one, but 100%. I don't believe any other filmmaker should adapt Roald Dahl except for Wes Anderson. And a Fantastic Mr. Fox is unbelievable in capturing the spirit of that children's book, but then doing so much more with it. Um, I just and like, oh my god, the Henry Sugar adaptation, the short film that he just released on Netflix, just reinforced that. Just he understands Roald Dahl, and it just works so well for me.
All right.
So those are
I,
my
I I've seen A Clockwork Orange, but I haven't read the book.
it's such an interesting read, being in the voice that it is. It's fascinating. Definitely, definitely worth a read. But Vinny, thank you so much for coming on and talking some movies with me.
Thank you for having me.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.